All right. So I'm not sure if you guys are up to date with what happened to my Mustang. Quick rundown is I took it to the track. I believe I had a little bit less oil than I should have. So I usually fill up all the way to the top where it says max. I was about, I don't know, a centimeter underneath that. But apparently, I guess that is probably enough to starve the engine when you're drifting for long sweeps or something on the stock oil pan. So I'm guessing that's what happened, because I started having issues with the variable valve timing. The car would get stuck the cams would get stuck in a retarded position, and it would basically sound like a diesel run weird. It would stall if you kept the clutch in for too long, that type of thing. So anyway, what's it called? We put it on jack stands, whatever, drained the oil, and the oil looked like glitter, like it had glitter inside of it. So, just guessing, I probably, what's it called, spun a bearing or something. So, yeah. So I pulled the engine out, and here we are now. We're going to be doing a teardown on the engine. Anyway, so that's what this video is going to be all about. So we'll go on from here. What we're going to start with is we're going to start removing the wiring harnesses and put those off to the side here. Alright, so I've got on all the wiring harnesses set off in approximately spread out here. What I'm going to start working on first is this main harness that goes to the computer. So what we want to do here is obviously push everything off to the side as you work. What we can see here is that first of all it's clipped on right here, so we can unclip it like that, give us some space here. There's basically just follow the line and unplug anything. So the injectors are here. So are the coil packs. We have this attached to here. I don't think it's part. No, yeah, it is part of the harness. So unplug this. It mixes in, or it what's it called? Joins in with the wire going to the alternator. So we won't be able to remove it completely just now until we take the intake off. But anyway, just go around. So remove all the injectors, all the coil packs. Follow this around. There's some connectors over here. There's some connectors over here. Yeah, disconnect those. There's the one for the what's it called, control motion plates or whatever. And yeah, just go around. We got some over here for the O2 sensors on the what is this, driver's side, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, some more coils. Yeah, so do that. And then we got the VCT or the VVT solenoids. We got the knock sensors here. We got this going to the fuel rail pressure. We got this going to the MAF, or no, not the MAF, what's this called, the throttle position sensor. Another knock sensor over here. This is connected to your oil pressure gauge, or your oil pressure sending unit, which is going to be connected right here. I have it removed because I was running an oil pressure gauge to check my oil pressures. But yeah, we'll get all those guys off. This would let you peel everything over onto this side. I don't think we're missing any other wires here. But yeah, go around, make sure you disconnect everything here. And you're gonna, oh yeah, right here. On the harness coming down from the positive side here, there's a ground right here, so disconnect this. And then you have some wires or some clips holding on the ground towards the starter. And other than that, once we're done that, we'll start removing the intake manifold. Alright, once you've gotten all the wiring harnesses off, except for this alternator one, what we're going to do is we're going to start taking off the intake manifold. To take the intake manifold off, there's a couple bolts here. Ignore my little bandage here. There's one right here. There's one right there. There's one right here. Going around, there's one right there. And the same thing continues on to the other side. There's one here. One right there. Once you get all those off, we're going to also have to remove the fuel rail before we can get to the last 2 bolts underneath here. So to remove that, these are 8 mils right there. I believe there were 8. There's 4 of them. 2 here. And it's exact same on the other side right there. So once those come off, we can wiggle and jiggle the injectors out, and they'll just kind of lift straight up. They might take a little bit of a force, but don't be afraid to give them a wiggle. So do that to both sides. Both sides will come off. You might also want to disconnect this guy from here. So there's basically a clip like this. Turn on my... There's basically this guy right here that you can press. Take move it up and just slide this guy off right here, like that. And then the entire fuel rail will come up and over to the side. Be careful because there probably will be gasoline in there. So yeah, just be careful not to spill it around anything that might catch fire. Alright, so once you get the fuel rail off, you'll be able to access these two bolts as well. And there's one bolt here and the same thing over on the other side that you have to get to. Once those two come off, just wiggle jiggle this, pry at it here maybe, like right there. Stuff like that. Just the gasket might be really caked on there, so it's just that's all that's holding it on, just the gasket. So just wiggle and jiggle it and this will lift all up, straight up and away. Now once you've gotten the intake off, what we're going to start working on is removing this and this crossover hose. So to remove the crossover hose, first we're going to remove the alternator bracket. So we take these 4 bolts off, and then we'll probably have to take that bolt there, and there's one underneath right there off. So I'll walk you guys through. I'm just going to quickly run through this, unbolt this, take off the bolts that look like they're holding this thing down. Make sure that you unclip this from here. I'll show you guys how to do that. Unclip the alternator, and there's going to be a bolt underneath there. I'll show you guys how that looks as well. Alright, so once you take these bolts off, make sure you put them back in. These two are the 10 mils because they're all different lengths. This side is the 10 mil that's a lot longer. These two 8 mils are actually the same, so if you miss those up, that's not that big a deal. But this is a shorter 10 millimeter here. Now, I'm noticing that you can't get this bolt out for the coolant crossover. We can take this one out without having any clearance issues, but the alternator comes in the way for this. So what we'll do is we'll start taking the alternator off as well. So 13 millimeter bolts here. There's one here, and there's one here. And from what I can tell, these are the only two holding this on. So I'll get these two. You might not actually have to unplug this guy because the alternator will probably come off with the cable here, but if you want to, you can. It's just a clip here, and just the same way that you have a bolt and a wire going into the starter, like there's a eyelet and then there's a bolt on top. It's the same thing here. But yeah, once you do that, we can take this guy off and the coolant crossover should come off. And I still have to figure out how to take this off, but I'm pretty sure it's just press the white tabs and slide it off, but I'll let you know. So getting this guy out was a little bit of a pain, so I just said screw it. I took this guy off completely. There's a 13 millimeter, well, I don't know what you want to call this guy, 13 millimeters that goes right here and into the block. I remove that and this entire thing comes off. What you want to be careful of is obviously there's coolant in here still. Also, this connector is clipped on to the thingy-majiggy, this guy right here. So I'm gonna remove it from right there, get this clip out of here, and then we can move the entire thing off. Alright, so once you've gotten that coolant passage and everything off, what we're going to do is we're going to take these coil packs off, number them just because it helps, I guess. Take the coil packs off, tape the intakes or all these holes up, just you don't want stuff going in there. And what we'll do is we'll disconnect this connector, this sensor as well. This is what the cable looks like. Put that off to the side. So yeah, take all these guys off, and we'll start going on from there. How about, I think we should also take these guys off as well. Label them left and right just so it's easier for you to remember. But yeah, let's do that. Alright, so with that all done, I'm going to take this ground off here. I'm also going to remove these two, I guess, also knock sensors, and put these off to the side as well. Notice that I've, done that all over. So yeah, do that. After that, what I'll start doing is I'll probably remove any other sensors I see. So I'll remove this sensor here, I'll remove this sensor here, and I think, oh yeah, if you haven't removed the oil pressure sensor, it's right here, remove that as well. If you have the cable for, for your block heater, remove that as well. And just go around, see if you see any sensors. We don't have to remove this guy because we'll remove the entire exhaust header. But yeah, I think that's it for sensors. So we'll remove all the sensors and we'll move on from there. So one sensor I forgot to mention is this crank position sensor. So we'll remove this guy as well. Yeah, I guess we'll remove that as well. Yep. So once you've gotten the crank position sensor off, what we're going to start working on is removing the water pump. First, what you got to do is you got to remove these 4, I believe they look like 10 millimeter bolts. Then there's going to be 3, I think. There's one here, and there's like one underneath those three bolts, and then the water pump will come out. Be ready for coolant to spill out. correction, there's actually 4 of those water pump bolts. There's those 3 right there, and there's one underneath. I've got the water pump out. A bunch of coolant fell out. What we're going to do now is we're going to take off the motor mount brackets. There are a couple of 13mm bolts here. There's one right here. This is where that ground was, so take this nut off, and there's one right there, one right there, one right here, one over here, and the same thing on the other side. We'll take those off. They're all 13mm. Once you're done that, we can also start working on taking the exhaust manifold off. So that's also all 13mm bolts. There's 4 up top, and there's probably 4 below, which will be much easier. Can you focus? Which will be a lot easier to remove once the motor mount bracket is off. So let's do all that, and we'll go from there. With the exhaust manifold all removed, what we'll do now is we'll take this bolt off, which is a 8mm, and then we should just be able to like kind of wiggle jiggle this oil dipstick out. We'll also remove this coolant and oil filter thing. So there's 1 bolt here, 1 bolt here, 1 bolt here, and looks like just one bolt here. So remove those. This will come off as well, and remove the dipstick as well. I'm now going to remove the tensioner, and there's 3 bolts for that. Once you've gotten the tensioner out, I'm going to remove this bolt, this guy, and set them all aside. So once you pull the bolts out, make sure you put them back in, because although these 2 look similar, they're actually different. This one's a lot shorter than this one is. So yeah, just make sure they're in the correct order. Also, I'm not sure if there's markings or not, but I'll put markings on the pulleys just to remember which side is which. But this one does say AC on it. Let's see if the other one does. The other one seems to have nothing on it. Or it might just be dirty, but you know. The one that has nothing on it goes on this side, and the AC one on that side, just in case you forget. Alright, so once we're done that step, what we're going to do now is we're going to start taking off the valve covers here. To take off the valve covers, we've got, I don't know, just look around, there's going to be a decent amount of bolts holding them all in. So take these bolts off, and then pretty much just wiggle and jiggle the entire thing off. It won't be too hard at all. There might be some RTV that's kind of going to stick here and underneath as well, that's going to kind of hold it on. But wiggling, jiggling both sides a little bit here and there will help you get it out. So we'll do that, and I still have to take out the, what's it called, the oil stick. You just have to wiggle jiggle that out, but it's kind of being tough. So yeah, I'll do those 2, and we'll go on from there. Alright, so once you've gotten the, what's it called, the cam covers off, so I'm actually kind of sad I blew this engine up, because this was a low kilometers engine. It was what, like 110,000 kilometers, which is what, 170,000 miles? No, not 170, it's like 70,000 miles. So like you can tell it's really clean. The valve covers were really clean too. So, oh well, it is what it is. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to remove the crank, so we can remove this crank pulley. You'll probably have to use an impact here, unless you can figure out a way to keep it from spinning. Once you remove that, you're going to have to grab a gear puller, and basically grab around the crank like this, put this guy down here, and then pull the crank off. Once you pull the crank off, you want to put the bolt back in so that we can still turn the engine if we need to. So once we're done that, we'll start removing the cam, or whatever, the timing cover, and I'll walk you guys through that too. So first get this done, and we'll go from there. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start removing the timing cover bolts. So there's a bunch around here. Just go around whatever's on the timing cover, just take those all off. Make sure you keep them in order, because they all go in a specific spot, so don't mix them up. Other than that, yeah, once the bolts come off, this should just pry right off. There might be some RTV like there is here, so it might take a little bit of prying, but yeah, pry pretty evenly and you'll be good. So alright, so once you've got all the bolts off, there's actually still 4 more bolts right here. So remove these 4. They're also 13mm, and once that's off, the entire timing cover will just lightly pry off. Alright, so once you've gotten the timing cover off, thread the bolt all the way in, and you can spin it to the right. What you want to do is you want to get your timing marks all lined up. So if you look here, you want to look for chain links that are different colors. So there's this one here, and then there's like this one here for this chain, and the other one is for the back chain is there, and the other one's like up there. But yeah, basically what you want to do is you want to line up the timing mark. So you want to get this the colored chain at the timing mark here. So this is a left camshaft, so you want to line it up with the L. Same thing for the R one. So in my case, what actually happens is that they're both off by one chain link, right? So one chain link to the left, one chain link to the left, so it's okay there. Anyway, and on the crank, you wanna, this is your timing vault, you wanna have it, whatever, matching up there. So yeah, once you get that done, we'll move on. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna try and get to removing the chain guides, the chain, and the chain tensioner. So to remove the chain tensioners, first just break these loose. They're 13mm bolts. And then what you want to do is you want to manually apply pressure down to relieve pressure from the chain, like that. It's going to take some force. And while you're doing that, pull these bolts out quickly so that there's no force on the actual bolts while you're pulling them out. Once you're done that, this piece should come right off. And then you can remove these 8mm bolts here, and the chain guide here will come off as well. So do that, and all you'll be left with is the chain and the sprockets. All right, so what we've done now is we've gotten that tensioner off. We've gotten all the chain guides and whatnot off as well, and we took the chains off, as you can see. What we're going to do now is we're getting ready to get the actual cylinder head off, or yeah, I guess cylinder head off. Anyway, just make sure there's nothing else connected to the cylinder head. So obviously the cylinder head and the block meet up here, so anything on this end, make sure that it can come off altogether. Do that for both sides, and what we'll start doing is we'll start breaking loose all these bolts here. Try to go in a crisscross pattern so that, you know, minimal stress. And break them loose first. Be ready when you're about to take them off because it is quite heavy. If you have a buddy to work with, it'll make life a lot easier. But yeah, get these bolts out, and then you can pull the entire head off. Yeah. All right, so we got the cylinder heads off. What we're doing now is we're going to start working on taking the oil pan off. So we tilted the engine over a little bit. Be careful because there's going to be oil and coolant that comes out of these ports and whatnot. So yeah, just be aware of that. Anyway, to get the oil pan off, take all these bolts off. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. We took those 4 off already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 on both sides and 2 beside the rear main. So take those off, and I'm pretty sure the entire pan should just come right off. Alright, so we let everything drain off as well. Now we got the oil pan off, and we're going to start taking whatever this guard off is. This is a 15? Yeah, so we're going to use 15s to take these bolts off here. And also this bolt here. This is probably a 10mm. And these 2 bolts for the oil filler neck. And this entire thing should come off. There's also, yeah, just look around. There's bolts here. It's pretty simple from here. I'm starting to see all the damage that I did in, 3 seconds of running it without oil. But yeah, it's nice and scored right there. Anyway, let's get that off and we'll go from there. So actually, once we've got the oil filler off and all the bolts off, this is actually a bolt as well. It's a 17mm, so just take that off, and then this entire thing should. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the oil pump. So I already took the gears off, they just slide off. So what we're gonna do now is to take the oil pump off. We're gonna take these bolts off here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm pretty sure that's it, and after that I should slide out. If that's not it, I'll let you guys know. Alright, so once you've gotten the oil pump off, you want to take out the pistons. I kind of forgot to record that, but basically all you do is these guys are in like this. You'll see these bolts. You just got to take these 2 bolts off, and then pretty much push this guy downwards, so into the engine, and the piston will just kind of fall out from here, from down here. So just grab it before it falls. Anyway, once you've got the pistons out, what we're going to do is we're going to start working on taking the crank out. So to take the crank out, loosen all these bolts, which you were supposed to do in a start pattern. But anyway, once you do that, the main bearing, I don't know, the crankshaft caps, I don't know what they're called, these should all come out. Alright, so I was having issues getting these caps off. Once you've gotten these bolts off, there's actually bolts on both sides for each cap as well, so you got to take those off as well before these come off. So yeah, I'll do that, and I'll lift these straight up, and these should all come out. So just in case you're taking these off and you might have gotten them mixed up, Each cap actually has a number on it, so you can't really screw it up. So this is the 5th cap, I think. No, this is the 1st cap. See how it says number 1 right there. Each one said this one's 2, 3, 4. This is the front of the engine. This is where the harmonic balancer was. That's where the flywheel was. So the first one goes here, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, so on. So I've gotten all of them off except for this last one on the flywheel side. This one's hard to get to, so I'm guessing what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cover off. So to take this cover off, there's a couple of, looks like 8mm bolts all around. So take all of those off, and this should just come off right like that. You should be able to take this guy off, and then the entire crank should just lift straight up. Alright, so I got that plate off. It looks like the rear main seal kind of stayed with it. We got to figure that out because that leaks too. Anyway, yeah, once you get that out, just kind of wiggle jiggle this away and free. I think I found out why my car was running so weird and had so many shavings in it. I don't think that looks too good. But yeah, so let's see if I can show you guys better with a better look here. Yeah, look at that. That doesn't look too good. So yeah, that's how you get that out. Let's put that off to the side. Now the crank is pretty much free to come out, so you can just yank it a little bit, it'll come out. Maybe get a buddy to do it with you, just because it might be a little bit heavy. Probably quite heavy, but yeah, so pull the crank out, and I'll go over if there's anything else left to disassemble the block. So here's some references in case you screw up. This is how this sits. Chain guide. This is the other chain guide. That's on the main cap number 5. Then those are 4321s. These are the rod bearings. The rear main seal cover bolts are all equal length. All 4 bolts for the chain tensioners, they're all the same length. For the tensioner, I don't know, reverse guides or whatever, the one with the longer nose, like that thing, compared to the other one. See how that one doesn't have one? This longer one is on the right side. Alright, so starting at 6 o'clock with the keyway at 6, we're going to try and bring the keyway up to 11 o'clock, and I'm going to record what happens to the pistons when I do so. There you go, look. This is me rotating towards the right. Oh, hold on. So this is the keyway at 11. And keep on going around so that the keyway's back to 6. This is a keyway at 12. Keyway at 3. And keyway at 6 again. Ish, almost 6. It's like 5:30. So that's what this side does. Alright, so starting at 6, going to 11 on the keyway. The keyway is at 11, a little bit past maybe. This is the keyway at 12. So restart here. I'm going to take it back to 6. This is the keyway at 3, and then this is S6 again.